newbie the magician.
Yes, reality competition shows. Either you know them or don't. But for me, I personally know some competition shows such as Survivor, Big Brother, and even The Amazing Race, and also Total Drama for that matter. And competition shows are really interesting if you think about it, because it basically have different people competing in one competition show to basically try winning a cash prize, which is honestly really interesting if you think about it. And with competition shows being popular, this is where paper shows comes into play. Now, if you don't know what paper shows is, I'll give a brief summary. Basically, paper shows is basically like total drama, but instead of random humans or objects competing in the show, it's actually different characters from different franchises, games, animations, and even indie animations and even fandoms competing in one huge competition show, which is mostly popular on YouTube. Not really popular, but I think it's popular in my book. And used to know me for being the creator of Paper Island, a total drama-like inspired show where different contestants from different universities compete for a different prize. But used to also know Paper Island for being the only paper show that goes through a lot of cancellation. And seeing how a lot of you really like Paper Island so much, I decided why not make a different video of me explain the different tips on making paper shows. Which I'm gonna tell you all that this is very important if you're thinking of making a paper show. So, if you have a pen or a pencil, and also a notebook or a piece of paper, make sure you write these tips down, just in case you're gonna make a paper show. Also, I'm gonna let you all know that I'm not really sure about all of those tips, but this video is also not really scripted whatsoever. But anyways, without any further delay, let's get into these different tips on making a paper show. But before I start, I would like to say I would really appreciate if you all subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and also for more Paper Island content if you're thinking about it. But not only did I make Paper Island, I also made a little semi-joke object show called Object Something, which is object show, but it's a semi-joke show. I don't know what else to say, but I would really appreciate if you all subscribe, considering that we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Ooh. And if I make it to 1,000 subscribers, I might do a face reveal. I highly doubt that, but yeah, please subscribe or do something, or I don't know, save this channel, I don't know, this video is not scripted whatsoever. So the first step on making a paper show is coming up with the cast of characters. Now, I know it sounds like it's not really important, but to me, it is very, very important. Now, the reason why it's very important because you want to have a unique cast. Not no randomized cast that you just chose from out of your brain, or a cast that has some controversial people, which I will get to shortly. But overall, what I'm trying to say here is that you need an interesting and a unique cast that could get the viewers' interest. Now, here are some rules you need to follow very clearly, because I'm not going to go through this again. Rule number 1, do not have a big number of cast. Having a big number of cast, such as 44 or 54, it could really take a long time to get your show to be finished. Now, second rule, do not add any controversial characters or controversial people. If you somewhat decide to add controversial characters that has controversial people, or just controversial people overall, you are pretty much doomed. What I mean by that is that your paper show could probably be not watched by anyone, considering that you want to add controversial people. And lastly, please research the character before you add them to the cast. This one was a suggestion by my good friend Lightning Rocks. He also has his own paper show called Ultimate Paper Battle, and it's currently on its, I think it's on its, 6th season. Yeah, probably on the 6th season, Whispers of the Wild. Okay, then I'm just gonna make it clear, Ultimate Paper Battle is actually currently on its 7th season. Whispers of the Wild is a 7th season. And honestly, if I do say so myself, the series is pretty big, if I say so myself once more. And I'll leave his channel in the description, and also Ultimate Paper Battle if you're planning on checking the series out. Now, I'll show off an example of what a cast should potentially look like whenever you're making a paper show. So here's a picture of the cast for Paper Island. As you see here, you'll see most of the people that you mostly known. It's also very important to have a cast with characters that everyone should potentially know. It can mostly be video game characters, anime characters, cartoon characters, object store characters, the list goes on. Now, with the first step done, it's time to move on to step 2. Now, the next step on making a paper show is coming up with the host. Now, it's also optional if you want to have a co-host, but in some paper shows such as Total Drama Nintendo and Total Paper Island, they have co-hosts. Now, for what most people would do whenever coming up with the host, they would basically use a Toad, but a different color version. Examples being Blue Toad from Total Drama Nintendo and Orange Toad from Ultimate Paper Battle, aka Island of Paper. Now, if you want to be more creative, you can maybe come up with your own host. Okay, so it turns out I forgot the Toad, and that's Green Toad from Survivor Nintendo Paper Island. Yeah, that's all I want to say. And if you want to be extra creative, you can even make yourself as a host. Just make sure you make yourself a design. And that's all I gotta say for step 2. Not really that much about like coming up with the host. Oh yeah, I forgot. If you also want, you can also make Chris McLean and Seb Hatchet as the host. You know, like the host from Total Drama Island. Yeah, that's all I gotta say for step 2. On to step 3 now. Now, the next step on making paper shows is coming up with the name. Now, this one is going to be a short one because it's pretty self-explanatory. You need to come up with a very interesting name that can get the viewers interested in your paper show. Now, for what you can do, you can just grab the Total Drama and replace it with a random gaming console. Examples being Total Drama Nintendo, Total Drama Xbox, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Or you can just put paper in the middle, like Total Paper Island. But if you want to be more creative, you could just put down Paper Island. That's what I did for my show. I honestly don't know what else to say. But here's what you can do. If you ever play Outlaster, like the Roblox game, try getting some inspiration about the name Outlaster and try coming up with something with that. I don't really know what else to say about step 3, so let's go on to step 4. Now, before I get to this step, this is going to be the last step of this video because the rest of the steps will be in the description. So the last step on making a paper show is make an elimination order that makes sense. This was also suggested by Lightning Rocks. So for this step, it's also very important that you take notes on this. So if you want to have a good elimination order, please make sure that the elimination order actually makes sense. Like, please don't have a character eliminated early just because they didn't really do anything in the episode, because that just shows that it's very lazy and also not really creative. Now, for what I'm going to suggest on how to make an elimination order that makes sense, probably just eliminate someone, whether they're a threat, whether they didn't really do good in the challenge, or because their alliance got leaked. That's mostly all the tips I'm going to be giving in this video. Like I said, the rest of the tips will be in the description. I hope you all like this video. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace!